y'all, I'm Jameson, also known as the Tax Deed Dude. This week we're going to check out next week's tax deed auctions. But first I want to do a follow-up on the last video since we were looking at this week's last week. So let's go ahead and check on that. I know it's only Tuesday, so we did have a couple of auctions go off yesterday. But right now you're looking at the screen and there are 336 left that are still up and coming. So we started with, I believe, 360 something last week. The way that I'm going to check this is going into our spreadsheet from last week. And if you didn't get this already or you want next week's auction list, go ahead, go to floridataxinvestors.com/free list. Okay, that's what you're going to get right here. This is last week's auctions, this week's auctions from last week's video. Oh, this got tripped me up. So what I'm going to do is go in here. I've already got my county list and I just want to kind of find out which ones are going off when. So I'm just going to go ahead and move my chart here to find the auction dates. Okay, so today is March 11th. Yesterday Santa Rosa went off. It had 6 to begin with when we did the video last week. Today we have 6 counties, okay, going with potentially 47 properties that we found to be legitimate and probably would have bid on. Obviously, we can't bid on all of those. I can't bid on all of those, right? I wish I could, but it's such a vast amount of tax deeds going on every single week, right? So that's why I like to teach you guys so that you can get in on it. We can work together. You can learn from the pros. It's really cool. I love teaching, right? So this is my bread and butter. I'm geeking out again. I'm sorry. So let's get back into it. All right, if you're as excited as I am, go ahead and comment below that you're excited and what you want to learn for next week, right? Okay, so we only have one auction that's gone off so far, and that is Santa Rosa yesterday. We only had 6 in here, okay? 6 that we deemed that were the best of the best, not the best of the best, that weren't crap. We'll just put it that way, okay? They weren't crap, so we might have looked into them a little bit further. So we do have, looks like resident, vacant, land, household. So this had a house on it, probably was demolished. Got a fire. This is good. I like this because you got the impact fees are paid. Usually in the smaller counties, there's septic and not city sewer. So you may have a septic tank from 1989, which seems like a long time ago. I've actually had some of them come back as old as like 1981, and it was in almost perfect condition because somebody moved out of it, emptied it, and that was like 20, 30 years ago. There's no trees around, okay? Trees are your enemy, and no trees impacted and grew through it, and it was actually perfect. So it was a super fun surprise. So go ahead and just always look at those. I love when something's been developed and built on it. There could also be like a foundation, a slab, driveways, whatever, right? So we love things that have been built and then demolished. We love demolished stuff. Okay, so here we go, assessed improvements. So something was $24,000 that was built on here. Probably something like a garage or maybe a barn. We can go ahead and look at that further, but I don't want to get too far into this. Let's go ahead and pull this up and see how these did. All right, so we can check these out by simply going to Google, and you can just Google Santa Rosa tax deed. And the first thing that pops up, it's going to say foreclosures tax deed. So usually it'll lead you over to the county website, and they will have a link. So we want this tax deed auction site. I just know from personal experience, this is on Real Auction. So it's santarosa.realtaxdeed.com. I also have a little cheat sheet that I use, so I know that's on Real Auction. There are at least 42 counties as of this recording on there. This is my preferred site to register and bid on and buy properties in. It's just so much easier than all the others. And we just click on the auction calendar here. We can find that there was 10 yesterday. That's 10 total, right? So we know that 6 of them actually sold. So you can see a lot of these are redeemed already. But we can see Milton went for 15.6. It was appraised at around 15. That's about standard. This one is very interesting. This went to the certificate holder. Let's go ahead and look at that. That'll be a good little tidbit there. This one was appraised at 7,900, went for 23. Another one, 45, went for 37. That person might have gotten a little bit better of a deal. But I don't see an address on the tax roll. That's kind of a red flag, but not a deal breaker. Just so you can compare, this one almost looks like the same price. However, it went for 16.2. We got another one for the certificate holder. These are probably ones that we pulled out of our list because, like I said, remember we had 6 that actually went to auction that we deemed were okay to look at. Okay, so we eliminated the bad ones before, and we had 6 left. So this one's 18,000 at 30,000, and then another certificate holder. Okay. So let's jump back into our spreadsheet and just look at the ones that we would have probably looked into, maybe not bid on, but looked into and done more due diligence on. So guys, I'm going to show you the hard way to do this, and I'm going to show the easy way to do this, okay? So like the normal hard way to do this and the way that I was doing it originally, before I found Property Onion, you would just go to the Santa Rosa County auction site, just like I showed you, and we would pick each and every one. So like our first case number here is 4294. 4294. Okay, I see that it was sold around assessed value. Go into the parcel ID. Maybe it'll throw you into the right one. I know Hernando County still hasn't fixed their links, and it'll just give you the blank website, and you have to do your own searching. Here we actually have some information, which is great. We can see it's vacant, extra features. I can see the legal description doesn't look like anything different. However, I've got to go through all this other information and kind of decipher like, oh, what is this property? Oh, okay, here we go. So now we have this. We have an aerial view. Looks like it's great. It's on the road. So something was built there at some point. Okay, so like we can go in here, look for a permanence, blah, blah, blah. And this is assuming that you're doing due diligence beforehand. Okay, so we're looking at this after the fact just to see what kind of went at the auction yesterday. So I can see this. It looks pretty decent. We can see 2015 it sold on a warranty deed for 10,000, so it's probably vacant land. 30,000, that means there's probably a house here. Here we go, mobile home, vacant land site. So there was a mobile home. This is saying 2023. I don't know that there's a mobile home on 23 put there. So really just to skim through this, okay, not to get too much. So now we have land as single family here, land value of $12,000. So I got all this information, right? But I would have to go kind of like look into it a little bit more to get all this information that I want. 0.334, like this website's really good, okay? They give you a lot. I'm gonna show you the easy way to do this now. Okay, I am simply going to take my parcel number. I'm gonna go into Property Onion, put in the parcel number, wait for it a second. Okay, don't hit search because you won't find anything. Wait for it to drop down. There we go, parcel IDs. And I will load everything I need to know about this property and a picture of it, which is really cool. A lot of places don't have pictures of these places or even a map to look at, so this is really neat. Okay, so I have everything I really need to know in this one row here. Okay, I've got my appraiser link, my bidding link, the lot size. I do have the year again. So again, all this information you can find on your own with some digging, but why? Why would you want to do this on your own, right? When you have everything right here. I've even got the freaking flood map, okay? So look, so I can just look in here and be like, oh look, there's no flood zone. Awesome, I can actually bid on this now. So this is really cool, and this is how I do it, okay? And it makes your life so much easier. So with that said, we do have, again, our assessed values, 35, our land values 12,000, and this person bid 15.6, maybe on the retail side, you never know. So without doing actual comps in this area, I think this is probably a good deal because there was something here. The impact fees that their buyer is going to save is anywhere between like 6,000 to 8,000 in this area. There may be a slab there. There could be some sort of septic that could be used. If not, the septic can be removed. And with that old of a septic, it's probably grandfathered in, which is a whole nother situation. But basically, you can save your buyer a lot of money by buying something that already had development on it. Okay, so that's the point of this, right? One thing I do want to check out is the certificate holders. Okay, this is very, very rare that a tax lien holder who applied for the tax deed actually gets the property. Okay, I know you hear all these great stories about like, oh, tax liens and I get the property, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really happen, especially with good properties, because what happens is I, as a tax lien holder, will buy the tax lien 2 years later. If it's not redeemed, they don't pay the taxes. I can go to the county and say, hey, I want to apply for the tax deed sale. That does not mean I'm getting the property. That means I'm putting out the money for the county to do their job, and now they're going to advertise for me. They're going to put it on their website. They're going to put it up to auction. They're going to deal with all the bidders, all the money, blah, blah, blah. It's awesome, right? Florida has a great system for that. But just because I paid all that money doesn't mean that I'm going to get the property. I am the same as any bidder that goes into this auction. So if you're getting into tax liens trying to get the property, don't do that. That's a terrible idea, okay? Yes, it's secured. It's great for securing and backing, but don't expect to get the property. Okay, it happens once in a million. I've only had it happen to me one time, and that was kind of on a fluke, which is a whole nother video. But just to let you know, so the fact that there's a certificate holder that got 1, 2, and 3 properties in this, I'm actually curious to see if it's the same certificate holder, which it might be. Let's just go ahead and look into this, because we had one, this 4299 case number was actually on our list. And I want to see if these other ones were on our list too. So we have 4304. So we did not have that. So that was knocked off. So we did something good there in our predetermination. And then we have 4306, which was also. So look at these. So in hindsight, let me just go ahead and make these special. And we can look at that on a case-by-case basis. Okay, so we have, in hindsight, both of these are land. They're both decent properties. These are infill lots where just a basic home or a mobile home can be added. I don't see anything added specifically because there's nothing in the background of history with the square footage or year built. So this is probably completely vacant land. And I believe the addresses were not there. Yep, so our street address is actually showing the parcel number, which means it's never been developed. Here we go. We don't have a county market value, land value, but we do have assessed value. So that's why it stayed on our property list. Okay. We also see our flood percent was 0, meaning like our X. Okay. 100% means there's no flood. We want X. X is great. Okay. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at these in a little bit more digging and see what we can find of why these properties did not get bid on. I know Santa Rosa is a very small county in hindsight. Oh, look what I did. I just told you not to do that and I did it. I hit search too fast, put it in, and then wait for it to drop down. There we go. So Santa Rosa is a pretty small county in hindsight, especially since they only had 10 properties go up for auction. It looks like they do have a weekly auction this month, but it wasn't a lot. So here we go. First things first, what do you see? Okay, comment below what you see, because I am seeing absolutely no access. That doesn't mean there isn't access. That doesn't mean there's not an easement. But this, I can already tell just from this, just from my experience, the topography and the terrain of this. This property probably slopes down. Okay, I can just see all this greenery here. I can almost see a line, like a break line in the trees here. So, a lot of newbies are not going to catch that and might bid on this property thinking it's a great auction. If they don't drive by it, you really won't be able to see a whole lot if you drive by it. So, again, this is another one that's very risky. It's also right by the water. We know for a fact that properties by the water in Florida tend to flood. So that could have happened. Yeah, it's right in between these as well. It's like I don't know what this is, peninsula. There we go. So with that said, not to say there's not a lot of great properties here. I actually got a couple of here. I did a video a few weeks ago actually with a couple here that did really well. So with that said, I don't see anything severely wrong with this, but I'd like to go ahead and look at it. I'm going to pull it up on Google Maps and maybe we can get a little bit more information. If you ever want to see who actually won it, you can just go to the bid history down here. You have to be logged in, so make sure you sign up for an account. It's totally free. Log in and you can scroll down. You can see all the bidders here. And looks like somebody didn't have enough deposit. Started off actually at 11,100, so that was a pretty good start. And Alani Teston and Melanie Teston won it. So good job, guys. Best of luck to you. So let's go ahead and take a look at the certificate holder wins. Okay, so there was 2 of them that we had on our list to do further due diligence on. And that one here is one that we're looking at, kind of slopes down a bit. Let's go ahead and go to the county site and just see what's going on. And boom, conservation parcel, guys. If you ever see the word conservation, run screaming away. Okay, that is that's really sad for this dude, whoever won this, or dudette. Yep. So somebody took this, changed it into a conservation parcel, or maybe even HOA or whatnot, but that is why it went to the tax lien holder. So anybody that did their due diligence that was thinking about bidding on this, saw that conservation, ran away like a professional should, We don't know if this actually changed to a conservation parcel before or after that person bought the lien, because a lot could have happened in 2 years. So unfortunately, the lien holder may not have known this when they bid on it, or they just made a rookie mistake. This is not to say that you can't get your investment back from this, because what's going to happen is the certificate holder can either take possession of the property and yay, they get a property. But the best thing to do with this is actually to say, I don't want the property, go to the county and tell them that you want it put on the lands available list. Okay, so then it's going to go to the county, and the county is actually going to kind of like advertise it in a weird way for you. So all the people that are looking to buy properties that have been kind of just thrown off to the wind in these tax auctions is going to go to the lands available list. Every county has one. The big counties you'll probably not see a whole lot on. You go to these smaller counties and you kind of watch the auctions, and you'll see a lot of people will give up these properties to go to the lands available list. Why would you do that? Okay, so there is a statute where the county has so much time to say whether or not they want to buy the property. So this may be a position where there could be an easement that they want, or they have a conservation group they work with. Whatever the county may deem necessary to buy this property, they could, and they simply will give you a check for everything as if they were the bidder in that situation. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If the county decides not to buy it, that's when it will go to the public on the lands available list. Most likely somebody's going to scoop this up. You may even have some sort of nonprofit group. I've sold to many nonprofits as far as them just making sure nobody builds on these things. There could be wetlands next door. There's a lot of ways that you can sell this property. Okay, it's not a junk property. It's not that great, but it's not a junk property. Okay, you also have, let's look at this. You also have every single one of these neighbors, every single one of these people. Okay, every single one of them, you could go to, write a neighbor letter and say, hey, guess what? I bought your backyard. Do you want it? Give you a good deal, right? So this person that bought this certificate and ended up paying throughout the fees, the application fees, the sheriff's fees, all the fees that the county socks to you. So this certificate may have gone for about $100, $200 for 1 year of taxes on this property, if that, and it spiraled into $2,265. Okay, so that's for another video for another day, but just so you know, you don't buy the tax lien for $2,200 and then it goes up and then you get the property. Okay, it doesn't work like that. So this certificate holder does have options. Let's see who this went to, and I bet it's probably the same person on the next two. Okay, so we don't have, this county does not provide the certificate holder's information. That is something you can look up in public record, but we are not going to get into that right now. And yep, we do not have certificate holders for any of these. So I can guarantee almost all 3 of these are also conservation easements, because that's really the only time that something doesn't get bid on unless it gets overlooked accidentally by all the other investors. Okay, so this one actually is vacant residential. It does not have the conservation. So this one that also went to the the certificate holder for $2,500. I'm getting confused here. Let's get rid of these. Okay. So this actually says it's zoned for single family. Oh, here you go. Yeah. Can't do much with that, folks. Okay. This actually looks kind of like an easement, almost like a power line easement in the back of other properties. So that's probably the reason that did not get bid on. And then we'll check this one out. Okay, last one. Vacant residential, nothing different in the legal. Single family, and again, so this isn't too bad. I mean, you could honestly get access. This looks like a house right here, so you could sell to this neighbor, maybe this neighbor. Looks like there probably was a property right here. You can see a break in all of the trees, and it looks like there's some sort of building right here. So this isn't too bad. You know, if you accidentally had to take this as the lien holder and nobody bid on it, you could definitely do something with that. Okay, so best of luck to whoever ended up with those properties. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what you guys came here for, and that is next week's auctions. All right, let's go ahead and go up here. We're going to go to our spreadsheet view. I like to use this first. Drop down more filters. We're going to go ahead and choose all of our Florida counties. Sale type, tax deed auction, auction status, upcoming. And we're going to choose next week's date, so the 17th through the 21st. All right, so we got 221, a little bit less than last week. I believe we had 360 something last week. So we'll go ahead and look at these and see which ones are worth bidding on and which ones are trash. So I'm gonna go up here and click on export and export my properties. Now this is gonna come again as a CSV file. It's gonna look very, very boring, black and white. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this into my personal template that I've created and make it a little prettier. Okay, so now we can refresh all of our charts and get a better idea. So this is last week, so we're just drumming over it here. Let's see, yep, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. So we have nothing on a Friday. We do have, it looks like, quite a few counties going up. We can see Polk County is huge. I talked about that last week, how Polk and Putnam are pretty big counties because they have a lot of the smaller lots that go up for auction. And I'll show you that in just a second of why we want to remove a lot of those because they're not going to be worth it for us. But just to show you again, the type of properties that are going up for auction, it's almost always 50% land or more, or at least close to that, right? So a lot of these other ones are actually going to get redeemed before they go to auction next week. Land will probably bump up there anywhere between 70 to 80% on average. Okay, so we have 221 properties up for auction next week. Obviously, not all of these are going to be good. We want to bid on only the best ones. So we're going to use what I like to call my pass technique, all right? First, we're going to look at the property type, okay? We're going to see what we like to bid on, make sure there's no wasteland. Next, we're going to use the assessed value to make sure that we get something and we're not just scrummaging through because the county's already done that work for us. Third is going to be the size. We don't want acreage less than 0.08 to make sure that we can build on it. And fourth is going to be the surface, right? We don't want a flooded surface. So we're going to check the flood zone and make sure we eliminate some of those. All right, so let's dive into our property type. We want to make sure here that we don't have anything that says wasteland or government or anything like that. We want really good properties that we can resell, okay? So we've got commercial, condominium, land, mobile, multifamily. We have an other and a parking garage. Okay, parking garages are actually great, but we want to make sure that they are legitimate parking garages and not just something that was possibly demoed for any specific reason. I do see that this one here looks like it's the same property. I don't know how that happened. They must have two different auctions up there, so we'll look into that a little bit more. And then this other one says other. So let's go ahead and check on those. There we go, Everglade Commercial Edition. Let's check on that one, see where it leads us to. Okay, so this one is the other, not a parking garage, but we ended up at somewhat of a parking lot. So that's interesting. Lively Stone Church. This is the parking lot probably of this church that is either here or there. So this is good. This is probably going to get redeemed. This is a really kind of high value property. You can see it's worth $300,000. So most likely that's going to get redeemed. We'll go ahead and keep it on our list just in case. If anybody can scoop that up, really good. Perfect. Let's just go ahead and mark that as a good and we'll move on. So let's go ahead and grab this. That was in Miami-Dade. And again, Miami-Dade is very, very high competition. You're rarely going to find any good, decent deals there. Unless you are one of the high rollers, you know, playing with the big dogs. So with this one, it is a Plaza Conda unit. Okay, we do have building improvements, just value. The land value is only 34, but we see that the building value is 30,000. What I don't see on here is any sort of photo. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the map, and most of the counties will have this for you. And we can see, there we go. So it is a parking garage, looks like to this probably apartment complex. So that's good. We like that. We're going to go ahead and keep that one. And again, this is probably another high value property. Yeah, 30,000. Well, it's 30,000. It's not bad. But still, this could be a really good find. So these are the same two. I don't know why these are both in here. Maybe we can check out on Property Onion, see what we can come up with. Okay, and actually did come up with quite a few auctions here, right? So this is obviously the same property. We have the same address, the same parcel number, but you can see it was auctioned on, well, supposedly it was up for auction February, March, and now May. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on. This is probably some sort of spot in this parking garage. Without further looking into it, see, it says 4 acres. There's no way you're gonna buy 4 acres in Broward County for $30,000. We can see just from the legal description, there we go, budding trust, 8-9, road, less partial. So all this is really confusing, but basically this is going to say Yep, less part. I would guarantee that this is just one spot in that parking garage, and it's probably part of like the condo association where you get a piece of the land when you buy into the condo. So I'm not going to go into that too much, but you can see like obviously our assessed value is crazy. We're going to go into, let's see, go back to that, and I can see, yep, the 30,003. So let's get back into our spreadsheet. I know that this is kind of confusing with these two. I'm not sure if I want to bid on these, but I also know that Broward County is in online deed auction. They're not in real tax deed auction. So I prefer to use real tax deed and real auction instead of this one. But if you are wanting to do this, this would probably be a couple good properties you could bid on. Just make sure you do your due diligence, all right? Okay, so process of elimination. We have not eliminated anything from our types yet because all of them look pretty good. I'm just going to double check this actual land use is kind of like a backup column, right? Commercial, vacant. So we have institution and governmental. And I think that's probably the church. So again, yep, we have condominium land. Nope, this is showed up as land. So let's double check this. And again, we are in Brevard, not Broward. Brevard, okay. And let's just check to see if Brevard is on, yes, they are on real auction, so that's a good one. Palm Bay, vacant land, institutional. That's different. Normally, it would be commercial or industrial, 12.54 acres institutional. So most likely that means either a government agency or something has this. So I see that the Palm Bay ALF Investments owns it. Let's check out the map view. All right, so we can see this. Let's see if we can see the overview. And that is very interesting. So some sort of property here. This looks like some sort of commercial trucking, maybe a bee farm. I don't know what these things are. That'd be cool. And then, yep, so we got a ravine here and some sort of bridges passage inside of what looks like a really good neighborhood. So again, this one is probably going to go pretty high. Yep, we already have an opening bid of 40,000. And we have an assessed value of 700. So if you're running with big dogs, awesome, go for it. I am not going to be bidding on this one, so good luck to you if you are. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just leave this on there. If you guys want a free copy of this list, I'll put it in the description on how you can get this list after I do my video here. And I'll just leave it on there for you, okay? So you can see we have our scrub list that we're working on, and down here we have our full list. So anything that I remove is still going to be on the full list. We're working on the scrub list right now, okay, breaking it down. Next, we're going to look at our acreage. We want to make sure we have 0.08 in size of acres so that we can build on this property. We have a lot. We don't have 0 acreage on this one. It says commercial, Miami-Dade. This is probably some sort of office condo, roof, unit. Okay. Here we go. So county market value, it's already going to not pass our value assessment, which is coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this anyways. And now we have 0.567. So 0.07, maybe. But 0.08 is really what our sweet bread and butter is going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these 5, 6, 7. So we've only got rid of 4 at this point. And then we have the rest. I just want to see the largest that we have is 12.5. That's going to be nice. I think that's the one that we just looked at. 8.8. So we got a lot of good sizes here. Okay, Marion County also. Ooh, that's a good one. Marion, Polk's going to be a good one. These big size properties here. Pinellas, you're not going to touch this in Pinellas. This will get redeemed. I guarantee you that. Miami-Dade as well. So with that said, we are moving on to our assessed value. I think I did those 2 backwards, but oh wait. We're checking 4 things. Assessed value is one of them. So from here, we've got a lot of values that we can play with, right? We've got county market value, county land value, assessor improvement, assessed value, assessed land, assessed improvement, total lien, total amount. Okay, so just disregard these. This is really for foreclosures, okay? We really don't even need these 2 columns. But what we want to look at is what is the county assessing this land at? Okay, so the county's going to have a little bit more of a database of their properties and what things are going for. Just be careful with that because they also may not assess the value of the property for like 2 or 3 years. I've seen some counties do it every 4 years, especially vacant land in farm towns. So just make sure you take this with a grain of salt. This is not how much the property is worth. This is how much it's being assessed at. Okay, so it could also include exemptions like agricultural exemptions, homestead exemptions, things like that. So just to compare, you can see the county land value here versus the, let's go down to the assessed land. These are all pretty much the same. Yeah, these are all pretty much the same. So I think those are good. So we're looking at assessed land only right now. It's going to say 0 in here for some reason. That's just kind of a fluke with the system. But once we get down to here, we're going to eliminate anything that has the null, which is 0. And now we can see, so our assessed land value is $100, but the assessed value is $92,000. Something wrong with that. I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's see, condominium. Yep, this is showing condominium. I'm not sure, but that's a good one. We're just going to leave that one in there. And then we have everything from 415. Let me go ahead and reduce this and filter it out so we can get a better view of what's going on, okay? We're going to say less than 2,000, okay? That's kind of a sweet spot because with 2,000, between 2,000 and 5,000, you can still do seller financing and you don't have to, if you hold onto it for 4 years or you finance it for 4 years, you don't have to clear the title, okay? So you don't have that $2,000 title clearing service fee going on. So all of these, there's about 77. I almost guarantee they're all in Polk. Let's see, yep, we have Polk, Broward, Alachua, Santa Rosa. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove all of the ones in Polk because this is not going to get me to my minimum. I like to get at least $10,000 for each property. So we have Alachua, Broward, and Santa Rosa. Okay, so these just really aren't anything special. I'm going to go ahead and remove those from my list. Okay, and now we can clear that, and we've got a little bit more to work with. Okay. We've got these $4 million properties here. These are the ones that we just looked at. I'm just going to go ahead and let's just take those off the books. Okay, so now we're down to 138 properties from, what was it, 221 earlier. So we got a good mix in here. I like this. Let's see the assessed value. Make sure, so again, we're at 100 here. Don't know how we missed, oh, because it had 0 land. That's why. Okay, so let's take that one out. And we're good. So assessor improvements. Yep, all these look good. Awesome. Now, the very last thing that we like to check is the surface, right? We want to make sure that it's buildable. Florida is prone to flood. All right, try this again. Florida is prone to floods. There we go. Everybody knows that Florida gets hit with hurricanes. We are basically underwater. We want to try to eliminate any serious issues with that coming forward, especially if somebody's trying to buy this property to build a house. So the next thing that we're going to look at is the flood zone. Okay, it's very important to check the flood zone. And again, we're not going to be eliminating everything in a flood zone because it could be completely fine. It could be in a flood zone and have very minimal flood impact. Okay, but there are certain things we want to look for in the flood zone. Specifically, this flood zone A and flood zone AE, AH, and then VE, this coastal floodplain, we are definitely removing that. Okay, so actually, let me go ahead and remove anything that says floodplain 100%. There we go. So all of these, 48, 9, boom. Okay. We do not want floodplains. Floodplains you can't do anything with. They're like wetlands. You just really can't change them, and they're only going to get worse. Okay, so now I have A, and E. I have a lot of these are 100%. Some of these you can see A is 48%. That's okay. We can work with that as long as we have 0.08% to put a house on. Okay, that's what we want to work with. So we would have to go back and kind of check the acreage, do some calculations, check the maps, that sort of thing. But it's not going to be one that we're going to completely eliminate. So we're going to pass it for right now. And then if you want to work on this one and bid on it, do some due diligence before you do. Okay, that's my fair warning. So here we have flood zone 100%. We're going to eliminate this one. And we're going to go ahead and get rid of these. A and E 100%, A and H It just gets worse and worse. The more A's you have, the more alphabets, the worse it is. Okay, X is good. We like X. So you can see again, it's giving us like 98% chance of 0.2, and then the rest is 0.2% of X. So we just got to be careful with some of these. I like the 100%. We're good on those. Those are golden. And then again, we've got a little bit more. So you can see this flood zone X is only 7%, and then the rest of it is 94%. So this better be a pretty big property for us to be able to put a property, a house on, or even a mobile. So there we go. Acreage is 4.79. Okay. So what did we say here in the thing? Oh, go there. Okay. So it is 4.79 times 0.94. So 4.5 acres are in an A-level flood zone, which is really not good. Okay, but if we do 4.79 times, what is it, 0.07, so 7%, 0.33 acres. So this is good. We can actually put quite a few houses on here if we wanted to, or we can split it up. But we definitely would want to look at this one and kind of see the map where it's going. So let's go ahead and check that out. All right, so here we have the Polk County FEMA flood map. Oof. That does not look good. Number one, I don't see a way to get to it. There are some tracks. We don't have this in the whole thing though. Let's try and open up the appraiser's map, because unfortunately FEMA will not outline the property, so we don't know how far out this goes. So at this point, we're gonna kind of have to overlay and guesstimate at this point. Okay, so our property is right here. This one right in the dead center. And FEMA is showing, oof, it doesn't look pretty. Okay, so FEMA has it. I tried to do a side-by-side here. Here's our property on the left. Most likely the property outline would be right about here. I'm guessing this little tiny bit is probably what is not in a flood zone. However, that really doesn't matter. If you look at this map, how in the world, without an airboat, are you going to get to this place? It's not unbuildable. Obviously somebody else built here. There's a nice pretty green gross lake that you could swim on. I don't know. This is not one I would want. And there's, you know, how many other properties do we have to look at? We've got over 100 other properties. All right, so let's get rid of this one, guys. This is just a gross property. We're not going to do this anymore. Okay, so there you have it, guys. Those are my 4 passing points, okay, to create an overall potential list. Okay, so again, not all of these are going to be good to be bid on. Let's go ahead and update our pie charts and see what we knocked it down to. Not much change there, but look, you've got a bunch of properties, bunch of counties, excuse me, with a bunch of different type of property types. So if you're going for something specific, you know, with the one commercial property, that's probably not going to do too well. Condominiums, we got a lot in Broward. 3 Miami-Dade, again, you're going to pay top dollar for those, and you may have to deal with HOAs. Again, your liens, your HOA liens are not supposed to go with the sale, right? So those should be eliminated. However, HOAs notoriously can make your life absolutely miserable. Okay, they can try to come after you. They can dig all of their legal financial stuff. All of their lawyers can come after you. They're not necessarily going to win, but it's sometimes just easier to be friendly and pay those off. So if you are going for condominiums, just double check those liens. Okay, I'll just put it that way. Lots of land. We got 52 pieces of land, 23 mobiles. Those look really good. Marion County, a lot of mobiles in Marion County. That's really good. Ocala's up and coming. Dunellen is getting there. There's a lot of infill lots there, but if you have mobiles on there already, I would double check these and see if there's anything good coming up. A couple of multifamilies, those are probably going to get redeemed. That other one we saw, the parking garage, I think that was, and then 16 multifamilies and 5 townhouses. So, with that said, we have got, let's see, on the 20th, starting on the 17th, so we have nothing on Friday. We've got 2 starting on Monday, and then the rest for the week. So there you have it. We eliminated, look at that, down to 7 in Polk. Marion has a lot of those good mobile homes. Actually, let's check that out real quick before we end this. We'll do a little schnoozing with the mobile homes, okay? So I really like mobile homes, but I have not had good luck with mobile homes. I'll just put it that way. I think I mentioned trees. Trees are terrible, and they like to fall through the mobile homes that I buy before I can even find out that they went through them. So even if you are on Street View, make sure you drive by the property. And if it is vacant, I'm not going to tell you to trespass, but that's all I'm going to say. Okay. Make sure you are not trespassing on somebody else's property. Make sure you are not getting into trouble. You can get a drone. I actually bought a drone once I started getting into tax deeds because I really wanted to see the back of these properties after I had trees fall through 2 of them before I bought them. So we'll just put it that way. These year builts is 64 through 98. Don't ever buy a mobile with 76 and older. That is when the safety standards have changed. Okay, so that's when the housing market safety standards changed. They had to build them a lot safer. They had to build less fire resistant, or excuse me, more fire resistant, less flammable. Okay, there's a whole like electrical code and everything. So if you get anything that's 76 or lower, be very cautious with it. You're probably going to have to update all the electric if you can even resell it at that. So these down here, 82 to 98, these look good. Most of them are 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Looks like some good square footage. Just 1,500 right here. That's probably a nice, pretty one. Let's check that one out. Okay, first thing I noticed on the property card here, always look at who owns it. So this is Timothy R. Puckett Estate. That means Timothy, Mr. Puckett, is no longer with us. It has gone to the estate, and for whatever reason, he may not have had heirs. The heirs are fighting for it. They don't want it. Whatever. This is probably going to go to auction, most likely. This is a really nice property. We can see, of course, there's a death certificate. I do see some sort of judgment here, warranty, quitclaim. So I don't see anything that stands out as a red flag. This still looks really good to me. Sandy Acres is a good neighborhood. And it looks like this is a pretty nice layout with probably a porch or something. Yep, vinyl siding exterior, 3-bedroom. Okay, this looks really good, right? So, okay, so we have a fence, a chain link fence and concrete pavement. Septic 1 to 5 baths. That's unusual. Normally I'll say specifically how many. So most likely if this is if it's a 3-bedroom, it's got to be at least 3 bedrooms and up for a septic. Nice big septic. This would be really, really good. Even if you have to demo this thing, if it is absolutely torn up. But in 1997, you still should be really, really, really good with this. So let's see if we have anything here that can show us what it looks like. All right, looks like a good little info lot here. Let's grab our base layers on the map. Okay, now we got our aerial view here. This looks pretty decent. We don't have any actual photos from the appraiser. Marion County, for some reason, doesn't put those online as of this recording. But this is a really nice little area. So we're right off of 42. This is getting some development lately. And these are all really nice little farm properties. Umatilla is kind of hit or miss, so just be careful when you are buying in this area. But what we can do is check the street view of this and just kind of get a better idea of what it might be looking like right now, or at least the last time that the Google little fancy cars drove through. Okay, unfortunately we don't have much. This really blurry image, you can see down in the bottom right here, it'll say when the last image was captured. So it's 2008. Okay, so we have 15, 18? Yeah, 18. 18 or 17 years ago is what this looks like. Either way, I really like this area. This would be one I would definitely bid on. I think it looks good. Needs some more due diligence, but this one is pretty prime to go. So this is one that we just went through. Yep, Umatilla. There's another one in Umatilla, Ocala, Ocklawaha. That's another good area. Ocala, again, it's hit or miss. It's the equestrian center, basically, of the nation. But you also have the other part of Ocala, and I'll just put it that way. So just be careful. Bellevue's really good. And Silver Springs is also pretty good, too. So a lot of good ones coming up in Marion if you were thinking about bidding in there. So, y'all, that's a wrap on this week's auction breakdown. You've seen the list, and now it's yours for the taking. I'm giving away this full spreadsheet of next week's auction properties absolutely free, including all my fun pie charts and even the scrub down version that you just watched, so you don't make mistakes and bid on junk properties. Just head over to floridataxinvestors.com free list, sign up, and I'll send it straight to your inbox. Don't waste time hunting for deals when I've already done the work for you. Grab this list now, saddle up for success, and I'll see you on the next one.